All right, and hello everyone. This is Phil at Saving Ghosts. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Tonight's video is going to be a lot of fun. We have Sean from Necrochatter here with us tonight. Say hi, Sean.
Hello.
We're doing something a little bit different because there's something that's happened in the paranormal world. Well, let me rephrase: in the YouTube paranormal world,
In
that
our little
Sean.
corner.
Exactly. In our minuscule little corner of the world, that Sean got a hold of me and wanted, and informed me. He educated me on it. But we're going to talk about that in 1 second. But before we do that, let's do this.
Demons falling from the sky. I kick them to the side.
Okay, so this is Sean, I got to tell you, this is going to be an interesting video, a fun video. Now, as a disclaimer, I don't think we are doing this video to we don't want to offend anyone. We're not trying to make any waves, because I mean, would you agree that YouTube is kind of it's a small community once you're in it?
Yes, very small, and we're definitely not looking to poke and prod anybody
Ex-
personally. It's more of a overall.
Exactly. And Sean and I have known each other for a little while now. It's we're not 10-year long buddies, but we I'd like to say that we get along fairly well, and we talk often enough
Mhm.
outside of YouTube. And like a lot of people who get into ITC in YouTube, we watch everyone to see what everyone is doing, and get ideas, and just kind of learn, especially when you're new to YouTube, kind of learn the play field of YouTube. And of course, people like Huff are in that, Cody ITC, and Josh from Hope. There we
Hope.
go, from Hope Paranormal, and so forth and so on. And of course, the bigger you get, the
More eyes
more
on you.
exactly, and the more mud can be slung your way. But now you got a hold of me today with some pretty interesting information that could possibly change the overall thought and mindset of people watching YouTube ITC. And I'm going to hand it over to you at this point to kind of educate all of us what it was that you found.
Last night, well, a couple days ago now, I know you and I both discussed that we had seen a video that was posted about how somebody was accusing another of faking. And that got my attention to begin with. And then last night, I happened to stumble across that. Long story short, three parties. The middle person was accusing the newest person and brought. Are we saying the names?
Part
Mm,
of me,
I kind of want to, but I kind
I
of don't.
yeah, I'm the same way. Um, I want to, just
For the
for
openness.
for openness, for transparency, for story purposes, so that you can lay down that foundation. But the thing is, though, we're not attacking them directly. What we are doing is we're explaining what the situation that's happening between the three of them.
Right, right. Actually, you
So
know what?
so
If we can, if I may, I'll just say it this way. You and I had both seen a video that had popped up recently of somebody accusing another of a fake, and that person has been accused as well, which makes it rather interesting and ironic. And then come to find out, there's a whole third person who's also accusing this young kid of, or this younger, newer person of faking as well. And now he's on this whole tear. He's gonna tear them down and kind of on a vengeance. And the thing is, it's ironic that Both, if not all three of them, have had their accusers of being fakes, and at the same time, here they are, you know, apparently they all have skeletons in their closets because they all have something against each other that they're trying to show.
Mhm.
Where other people that are legit, you know, I don't have any bones in my closet. I have
Right.
nothing to hide. And
Right.
that's a huge difference between legitimacy and not, you know?
Right. It's with these three. Now, these are not small YouTubers. These are large, very, very
Right,
big
right, right.
YouTubers in ITC, and you know, the younger one that you're talking about has been accused of being a miniature version of the main guy,
Right.
um, and you know, and then the main guy has his buddy, who, I mean, they all use the exact same equipment that was initially made by the main guy, you
Right.
know.
And they
And
all do a similar formula for piping in voices of the person that they're contacting, which is
it, now,
really just weird to me.
now, didn't you say that you watched the video of the younger guy?
I
And
did, just to see what he had to say. And in all honesty, it was an interesting video because a lot of what he was doing was breaking down how the main guy was supposedly faking it. And in all honesty, a lot of it made sense.
what was what? No, I mean, we don't have to go into a lot of detail about it, but what was he saying? Uh,
So
how was this?
one of the accusations was that he would actually um, say something into the device. The device would have it reversed and played through, and then he would take and put captions on the screen to make you think that this is what you heard because you're reading it. So your brain's tricked into thinking that's what they're saying. But then he would play the video in reverse, and the reverse itself would actually be what the person said to the equipment in reverse coming back through it, which is not supposed to
I
happen.
got you. Now, in that same light, wasn't there a video that was made by the main guy about the younger guy?
For doing almost the exact same thing.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, so, you know, it makes you wonder, makes you think. We have three large YouTubers, um, very large, huge followings. At what point, when they're being when you have this kind of cattiness going on YouTube between these
Mhm.
creators, at what point do personal morals and ethics come into play? Um, with this, because my thought is, if you are putting yourself out there to be a content creator, that means you want to be, in some way, you want to be, you know, you're going to be in the public eye.
Right.
Do you not feel that you have some sort of obligation to be,
Responsibilities.
responsibility, exactly,
Right.
to your audience?
Absolutely. Um, I was looking through the comments of both persons' videos, and it was kind of funny. Like they both have huge followings. Like they're just huge. They're massive. But I was looking through the comments, and you know, both sides have their loyal followers, and
Right.
you know, one side, the main guy, his followers are all like, "Oh, he's just trying to be you. He's trying to take after you. He's trying to mimic you. He wants to be you." And
Right.
then the other kid, like, you know, all his followers were like, you know, he's just a cash grab. How can he sleep at night? You know, he sleeps
Right.
on the pillows stuffed with cash from his people. It's just, it was crazy the comments that were going on. And so it got me wondering though, because honestly, like, there's a fire on either side. There's two different fires that could be happening right now. One is either they legitimately are having a fallout and like trying to burn each other down.
Right.
Two, are they in cahoots? Like, are they just trying to spark something and get more out of this? Like, because that wouldn't be the first time that I've seen that either. And I know that I've had some other people say the same thing. I've heard that multiple times today while this whole thing was unfolding. Like, oh, look at this cash grab that, you know, these guys are like, because I grew up working off and on in like small film stuff.
Mhm.
And one of the best things was there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
You know, all
Right.
media is good media.
Right.
So whether it's, I don't know, I really don't know what they're doing. So
Well, if that is the case, because they do that in business a lot as well. It is a marketing ploy. It is a way to redirect attention and to create conflict. Because the one thing that a lot of people I think tend to forget, excuse me, about YouTube is that it is a a televised media. And so if you're following those types of rules, then you have to create conflict, because when you create conflict, that gets you viewers. And the more viewers you have, frankly, the more money you get paid, because that
right.
equals views and so forth and so on. So we all know that these three use the exact same type of equipment. All comes
Mhm.
from the main guy. And so it would make you wonder, are they in cahoots? Are they trying to um, build each other's channels even more? I, it seems to me, though, that they run the risk, if they are doing that, that they run the risk of shooting themselves in the foot, because A, the viewers are going to see what's going on as far as the cattiness goes, and they're going to say,
Right.
you know what, I'm not into this. I'm done.
Yep.
Or they're going to start playing sides with each other, and it's not worth it. I think it's better to do a collaboration with someone. I think it's better to
Hmm.
show support for someone, if this is indeed what they are doing. Now, I did find it interesting that the main guy, because I did see his one video. One of my viewers from across the pond suggested that I watch it, so I did. And I thought it was interesting that he said he was going to start being more transparent in how he does stuff. And I'm thinking
I
to
remember
myself,
that.
you've had 10 years to be transparent. Um, why start now? What's happening now? Um, One of his videos for the Mumbai actor Sushant Singh got heavily criticized in India
Yeah.
because they were able to pull the actual interview footage that was used in the session video.
Yep. Yeah, I remember
And
seeing some of those, and they were pretty spot on, almost word for word.
they are
Tones and
they are
everything were just so close.
and these are this is stuff that people can look up. They can look into this themselves. But it makes you stop and think, though. Who is at fault here? Is the creator at fault, or is the I don't want to say the audience at fault, but
Well, the audience is the one that the audience is tricky because either they get duped into it, which is not their fault, or they know it's entertainment and go in it
right,
with a grain of salt. That's great.
right,
That's fine. Either
right,
way. But it's the ones that go
right,
into it like they 100% believe that he's doing something right, and if he's not, then
right.
there's a problem.
Exactly.
Especially since, you know, when you have millions of subscribers, millions of Patreons, and million, or I should say thousands, hundreds of thousands of Patreons and
Right.
YouTube subscribers that are all paying your bills and giving you ample amounts of money to do something that they think that you're legit. And if you are, great. If you're
Mhm.
not, that's a problem. That's fraud.
Yeah, I always applaud someone's success in something that is
Yeah,
out of the
absolutely.
norm. But I do agree that there has to be a moral playground here. And if you are manipulating your videos, then you need to have somewhere on your channel, you need to have somewhere that, this is entertainment, that this is, for fun. I'm creating videos where you can curl up on your couch and just have fun watching it. Something like that needs to be on there, But I mean, you and I have both, we've seen these videos where, the responses are, they're crystal clear and they're perfect and 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 we know that that's not the case. We know that when you turn one of these on, it's
Oh, yeah.
not going to be crystal clear. Hell, I mean, you use the Necrophonic, which is a phenomenal app, but you still have to really listen through it. And the chances of a spirit coming through
I mean,
sounding,
this is my go-to, but still,
and it's a fantastic app. I mean, I use it a lot now, actually, because of you. Um, so
Thank you.
so to for these three in particular who are saying that they're reaching out, I'll just say Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson is one of the more popular ones.
Yeah, I think we've all done it. Well, I did that. It didn't get recorded because we had that tech night. That's beside the point. But yeah, we've all done it. Yes.
So and to for us, and this is where I really would like the audience to think a little critically, a little logically about what is actually happening instead of just accepting what they're being shown. And I don't mean that as a slam to the audience at all. Um, Spirit is energy. Uh, Sound is energy in a waveform. And for a spirit to be able to manipulate that audio, keep that exact tone throughout an entire 30-minute session with no fluctuation
And some of them
is
are coming out in
hard.
full sentences too.
Exactly.
Now,
Um,
on spirit boxes, I've done it, and I'm pretty sure you have too. We've gotten a basic full sentence here and there.
sure.
Sometimes it's a little broken, but for the most part, we've gotten a sentence.
Right.
How often do you get a sentence though? How often,
Exactly.
compared to where you have to listen to like 3 minutes worth of footage to break down a 5-word sentence because of the way it's spaced and broken, and it just doesn't come out a conversation like we're having now. The other
Right,
thing
exactly.
too is using spirit boxes and doing ITC like we do.
Mhm.
Have you ever had a session we had one spirit come through?
Oh God, no. And that's
It's never happened.
it never happens. And I'm happy that you brought that up, because that was one thing. I was listening to the younger guy that you're talking about.
Right.
I almost want to say the names, I just almost want to say the names. Um, and I was noticing that it was the same voice of whoever it was they were reaching for, and no one else was coming in. And I said to myself, that's a bunch of bullshit, because that doesn't happen.
Right.
You're going to have fluctuations in that voice. You are going to have other voices coming in, and most of the time, if they're going to get a sentence out, it's going to be multiple voices stringing different words together to make a sentence.
Yes.
As far as what my experience has been. And so so we have these people out here in YouTube who are dishing this stuff out. They're all doing the same thing, and it's funny that these three are pointing the fingers at each other, all blaming each other of the exact same thing. It's junior high, it's
That's not even high
very
school drama. That's junior high drama.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
that's a
what it
very good
is.
point.
And here's the thing, at their level, why do they care?
So
Un-
I'm glad you asked that, because the younger guy in his video, and I swear to God, almost verbatim, actually says, "I think I angered them because I'm taking their subs. I have more subscribers and I'm making more than they are, and they're mad."
wow, really?
Yeah, and he thinks that
and
that's what triggered the whole thing.
that's funny, because now if I could just switch that up a little bit, that would almost be a little Chris Walken, but I can't do Chris Walken, now. But anyway, it's it's almost like it's almost like they're divorced parents, and they're treating the subscribers, the viewers, as their children in this tug of war.
Mhm.
and the subscribers can watch whoever they want. They can subscribe to both if they want.
Right.
It's this kind of pettiness that is going to make them lose subscribers. It's them talking like fierce crap about others that are going to make them lose subscribers. And that's why I'm happy that we're trying to be as careful as we can here, because we're not trying to be in any way, shape, or form disrespectful to
No, no.
them. But I think we value our viewers, and we
Oh
want them to
yeah,
be we
especially being a smaller channel.
right, and we want them to be informed. We want them to know what's going on, and you know, when you get that size, when you have over 1 million or so subscribers, and you can financially you are doing very, very well. Why do you care at that point what somebody else is saying about you?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I mean that's the funny thing is if he's if there's a pettiness over subscribers and who makes more and who gets more views, if somebody subscribed to your channel doesn't mean that they can't come subscribe to mine too.
right? And
It's not
we
like the main network channels where it's like if you're watching the news on this channel, obviously you can't watch the news on that channel at the same time. And then
right,
along comes DVRs. Hey, guess what? You can watch any news channel you want. That's the 5 o'clock news because you can record them
right,
all. So
right.
it's kind of like that. Like you can watch whatever you want. It's up to the viewer to watch it.
In business, they teach you that um, that competition is good because it
Right.
shows you what you have to do to switch things up. It makes you think. It makes you become critical in your thinking and what you're doing. And they're almost acting like politicians in the fact of slinging mud at each other and not sitting back and thinking, okay, what can I do? How can I, what can I do to use this as an opportunity to better myself and my channel instead of, just slinging crap back at somebody else.
Right. I mean, if you look at it from the politician's way, are they trying to get the other subscribers to end up being looking like DC yesterday? With like the riots and all that. Like, is that what you want
Right.
your subscribers to do?
Exactly.
Like, are you trying to get them to climb the walls and like terrorize the other channel? Because that's not
Exactly.
cool either.
Now, it's okay. So I know that you and I have some shared subscribers,
Yes.
and cool, fine, whatever, they can choose to watch who they want. You and I have no animosity against each other,
Nah.
it's,
As long as you
you
bring me a
know,
beer, we're good.
well, the best I can do is the mics right now. um,
Well, maybe we'll just edit that part out.
no, it's staying in. um, unless you want to edit it out then. But it just and it cracks me up is that we have three people here, three channels who in various different times in various different ways have been shown that they falsify their findings. Their channels are huge. And I'm not hating on them for having huge channels. I am questioning their methods though. But we
Right.
have people such as yourself. We have poor Marie. Um,
I love Marie and Pierre. They're so awesome.
they are from oh my
Voices
god,
from
I just
Beyond.
thank you. Oh my god, Marie, I am so sorry if you see this. I don't know why I drew a blank on your channel's name, but Voices from Beyond. Her videos are fantastic. She has some
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
locations, and she's sincere. You're sincere, and it it could make a person bitter by thinking that, well, I'm doing honest work, I'm doing the right thing, I'm not faking my stuff, but nobody wants to watch my stuff. I've heard that argument made from other YouTubers. What do you think about that?
First off, I just want to say, I think it's hysterical that I live in New England So I think that, for our country, like we're in the pinnacle of historical areas and stuff like that. And then I watch, our friends over across the pond, Voices from Beyond, and I Want to Believe You, and all these other great channels. And you look at the history they have over there, and I'm just like, oh my God, I wish we had that.
Oh, I know.
But anyway, I digress. Um, what was the question?
I don't remember. Oh no, what's your
My
thought
on something.
about? Yeah, about the YouTubers, the ITC people who are actually doing sincere work, and and their feeling of being mowed over by the larger channels who maybe aren't so honest in their approaches.
So I look at it this way. Everybody has their own theory and their own way of doing it. I do a lot of it in my car because I have an electric car, and of course the whole theory of the electric, the electricity and electric currents help them. And we, in all honesty, I get a lot of good responses. When my friend Carolyn sits in with me, we have a lot of great responses and good times doing it.
Right.
But again, I call up for, someone like Jack the Ripper, and I got all these other voices coming through. I had some that sounded like it could have legitimately been Jack himself.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard his voice, so I don't really know, but I'm just speculating, But there's all these voices coming through. And then you do somebody specific like Chester or Chris Cornell, and there's been time. Robin Williams is a great one because he had such a unique voice. Right. You and I have both done that where we've heard their voices come through, and you're like, oh my God. And most of the time, you don't even know. You don't even know you caught that until post when you're going back and listening. And I'm just about like dropping the headphones off my head going, oh my God, I can't believe I got that. Not only does it sound like something he would say, his voice actually sounded like him for like that split second, but that's all you get of that voice. Exactly. And you don't even know,
Exactly.
So you'll catch some of it here and there. But the other thing too is just so many people on that side, so many spirit that want to come through. To have one specific person. Here's one of the things about these channels that kills me, and I would love to understand how they know how to do this. And they've got their special boxes, which is great,
Right.
And they have they pump in the voices from these interviews reversed or whatever they do. Okay, I understand that, but allegedly to filter out the sounds and unwanted chatter, they somehow know when to turn the volume up and when to turn it back down again. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
How? I would love to know how do they do that, because I would love to do that myself, because all the static and all the voices coming through that you don't necessarily want.
Right.
If we could get rid of that, I mean, that would be
well.
amazing.
You know what? Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay, so you're talking about lowering the volumes and things like that. Now, most everyone who's going to see this, they know that I've made my boxes. And, I have the Angel phone, the Angel box, and I have Michael's Gate. There's nothing magical about these things. There's nothing magical about the ones that the other guy makes. These are basically amplifiers. That's all they are. All they are an external speaker to help hear the words better. Now, I do have my own theories. When we're talking about piezoelectric crystals, that if you squeeze them, they will release a little bit of energy. And so I do have that. But when you're talking about cutting out the sound, it's this knob right here. It's a noise filter. It cuts out that that static noise from scanning radios and cuts out that sound, and it's
But
just
if you're
turning
cutting
that
out static, you're not cutting out voices. So all the excess voices will still come through.
Right.
Yes or no?
Right. If you continue to turn the knob, though, it'll kill all the audio.
Right. So my point is, if you're going to turn the volume down and then know right when to turn it back up again.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And then turn it right back down after you get your response, and you talk and you ask your question and you wait, and then you turn your volume up and you get that crystal clearness. You know exactly when to turn it up and when to
I
turn
see.
it down.
I
I've
see
been
what you're
asking.
saying.
So one of my favorites was I'm a huge rock and metal kind of guy, and I did a session for Dimebag Darrell, the guitar player for Pantera.
Right,
He
right,
unfortunately was shot on stage in the middle of the beginning of a concert, 10 seconds in front of his crowd.
right.
So I asked him, you know, I believe I had a good connection with him, and I asked, what happened to you on that fateful night in Ohio? And I heard, wasn't in the plan, okay, with Damage Plan, was the band that he was with at the time, and his brother, Vinnie Paul, who was the drummer, shot on stage. It literally took about 2 minutes to get all that information. I didn't know when it was coming through. I didn't know when to turn the volume up or down, but
Right.
I didn't even know I caught half of what I caught. I was like, oh, I think I heard Damage Plan. Oh, I think I might have heard Vinny's name. I didn't even know it said shot on stage until after the fact when I listened to it, again later that day. So
Right. No, and that's and now that I'm following along properly, I see what you're saying, and yeah, it's you know coincidental that you happen to turn the volume back up right when you're getting that response. Um, Now the thing about that particular um, YouTuber, the main guy, has a background in media, has a background in photography, has a background in that sort of stuff. So is a little more tech savvy, I would think,
Mhm.
and how to do that stuff. And plus is a guitarist, is
Oh,
a
I didn't know
musician.
that.
Yeah, is a musician. And so that's how here we go. That's how the
So he
portal
knows
came around.
he knows his amplifiers,
He does. He
the
does. And
heads
he
and the gear and all that. Yeah,
exactly. So so if you know that tech, you know how to play around with it. You know how to
manipulate.
now exactly. Now, I will say that when I first saw it, I thought, okay, this is great.
Yeah,
Here's a
yeah.
better way to amplify the voices because most people, and I was just as guilty of this when you have like the PSP 7, you just have that little speaker that sticks out the side, you know. And even with the S box, I mean, the S box is phenomenal and has a good speaker in it. But when you can get it pumped through a better speaker, when you can kill that noise, and if you can add a little reverb, because I'm sure that you have found in some sessions that some of those words cut off real fast,
Mhm.
and you're like, wait, what? And sometimes you have to slow it down in editing. You have to listen to it over and over again to see what you're getting.
Yep.
Sometimes that reverb adds just a little bit of just enough extension to help make it out. But so I am a supporter of finding different and unique ways to help you, the practitioner, hear it better.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have an issue with using it as a prop piece uh, to manipulate the audience into thinking that you're getting something when you actually aren't. Because here's one of the things: you're going to get people who are going to watch their videos and they're going to say, oh my god, I would like to do that. If they can do it, I can do it. And they're going to try 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 and they're going to think, well, I'm not getting the same responses. I'm using the SCD2 app and I'm using all this other stuff. I'm not getting the same responses. Well,
Right.
there's a reason for that. So
Well, one of the things I do is I'm an Apple guy. I have an app, an iPhone and iPad. So I put Necrophonics on both. And what I'll do is I've got one of the newer phones that does 4K, so I'll film with this and I'll record, well, I'll play the Necrophonics through my iPad. And what I do is I turn off everything. I turn off the cell service, I turn off Wi-Fi, I turn off Bluetooth on both devices. Part of it is so like stuff like this. I don't get a message in the middle of trying to do something. But also
right.
there's no manipulation of, I don't always show it, but so that people can't say, well, if it's connected to the Wi-Fi, it's got an algorithm that if you're doing a celebrity, they can pull up information for you.
Right,
But
right.
what another thing I do that I like with Apple is I will screenshot my iPad while I'm filming with the phone. And the iPad will only pick up, I had the microphone turned off, it'll only pick up what's on screen. So if I may, real quick, what I'll do through editing is I'll have the extra line down here. If I mute that line, if I mute the actual video, then I can actually still play just the part of the where there's no actual background sound, and it'll help me find what I'm looking for.
I got you.
And if I need to amplify it up a little bit, I can, but I'm not distorting it. I'm not manipulating it in any other way. It just really helps me find it and makes it a little bit easier to edit and clarify what's being said.
Okay, now you just said something, and I'm happy you brought it up. I want to make sure that those who are watching this, they understand that there's a difference between audio manipulation and editing processes, because sometimes we will slow down the audio. Sometimes we will play the audio in reverse because that's how you can hear it.
That's how it comes, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes it comes reverse, and you have to reverse it in order to hear what it's actually trying to tell you.
Exactly. So it's not that we are pumping in audio to fill specific answers that we're looking for. What we're doing is we're trying to bring the words out that are already there, that were recorded at the time of the session. So so I just want to make sure that
So if we're trying to educate viewers on legitimacy versus faking, what I see them doing, if I may, is very similar to this whole bubble over the summer of randonauting.
Yeah.
Where, some channels like myself, I went out, I brought my friend Carolyn out, we did one. It was very vague, but we had some interesting results. I went out on my own. I did everything from missing persons to death to creepy to crime. I mean, you name it. I tried it on my own in the middle of the night, and I got nothing. Like literally nothing. And then there's people who are going out and they're posting a video every single day, twice a day sometimes, and they're finding stuff and they're getting chased in every single video. And it's like, really? How much more can this bubble take before it's really going to blow up in their faces?
Exactly. And and I did try Randonautica like 2 or 3 times, and because I liked the idea of it, and it talked about the math that it uses to figure things out. I thought, well, okay, maybe let's see. Same with you, man. I got nothing. I got one open field. I got someone's house.
Yep.
But you see some of these videos, and they're basically, when they get to their location, they basically have found the Ark of the Covenant as far as they are concerned. And and it's like, yes,
I will say that I've seen some, I found money. And you know what? It's a great, I don't want to say clickbait, but it's a great way to draw someone's attention in, right? You watch this video, it's about 5 minutes long. They go out to a field and they find like a bag of coins or like an old can that was, partially buried with like maybe $100 in it. That's great. It's a bunch of ones. And then you've got some that like, we found money, and you watch this like epic 20-30 minute long video of them going out and they find this duffel bag and there's like $10,000 in it, and all of a sudden they're getting chased for 2 blocks, and then the person gives up. Who's going to give up after 2 blocks when it's 10 grand?
Oh, it's if people want to make that kind of content, I mean, it's not my thing, but I don't have a problem with it. I just want them to say that this is for entertainment purposes somewhere on their channel.
It's entertaining for sure, but if they're telling you that it's legit, then that's where I have an issue too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, I appreciate you so much, man. Both you and Marie. There's another one out there, Sarah Saving Spirits. She's another one I've had the pleasure of talking to on a few occasions. It's these people again who are just trying to do good work, who are just trying to actually prove that there is a life after death, but then you have these, like you were just talking about, these randonautica people who are, oh my god, we found an alien embryo out in the middle of Wichita, and it's just, what do you think is the? Don't you think that there's got to be? What am I trying to say? I don't want, not regulation, not, but just there's got to be a moral compass
Or like
somewhere.
almost like a moral code.
Yeah, Um, and I don't know, maybe I'm old fashioned in my thinking. Um,
I mean, we are getting old, so
bite me, bite me, sir, bite me.
Hey, we're the same age, man. Come on.
Well, do you have any final thoughts or opinions about that trio that are having their little spat or?
Yeah, there was one more thing that I kind of wanted to get out and off my chest a little bit. Is one of them, I believe it was the Younger's channel. Somebody had called out the senior hire of the three and said, well, if he's so legit, why doesn't he just move from Arizona desert to LA, become part of the LAPD, and solve all these millions of unsolved cases? But the funny thing is, he didn't ask that the kid the same thing, ironically. But no. So if you're looking for a legit channel, that's a great way to try and find a legit channel. Like I have Taj. Taj Naboni is somebody from my area who went missing when he was 9. That case is 40 years old, and they still have nothing. Nothing. No one's ever been convicted. No suspects. I mean, well, they have a suspect, but they can't really do anything because they never found him. And it's a really well-known case out here, and I tapped into it. And he told me, well, I believe I contacted, and I believe I made a good contact and a good rapport with the spirit of. Told me who took him, told me where they lived, told me about the night, told me how far he was from the house, told me he was in water, something about a shed. I went back and revisited it when I had a chance to go back and do it again. And I was sitting in front of the residence, and I got an address out of it. So I went to the address, and it's exactly a half mile from the residence. There's a body of water behind it and a watershed. I gave it to the police, and they basically were just like, yeah, whatever. Because, you tell them that you're a paranormal investigator, and most of them just kind of laugh you off. It's a taboo thing. Right. Exactly. So there's that side of it too.
Well, and it doesn't help that there are people out there, maybe not so much paranormal, but within, and when I say paranormal, I mean like ghost hunter type thing. But you have people out there, such as the late Sylvia Brown, who will give predictions but are wrong.
Right.
And that's, and I know that can open up a whole other can of worms I don't even want to get into right now, because that in itself is a very, very touchy area for a lot of people, because there are definitely people out there who have made claims themselves that they have these abilities, or have been told they have these abilities. And I'm not saying that they do or they don't. It's just that part of the world is very split. So yeah, going up to law enforcement as, paranormal, that, hey, you spoke to the victim, and
who's been missing for 40 years.
Exactly. But you're absolutely right. And I'm happy that you mentioned that, because that is a good gauge as to what is a legit paranormal channel and what is not.
Someone who's actually trying to do something and give back to the community.
Well, and also the thing is that these 3 in particular, they present in such a way that you turn on the box, and, well, before I even get into that, one of them, the big one, claims that he is the chosen one, that he has been chosen to do this.
Yes, and I forgot about that.
I think that's the biggest bunch of hogwash that has ever existed. That's like in Star Wars now they say you have to have a certain amount of midi-chlorians to be in touch with the Force. Bullshit. Everybody can be in touch with the Force.
Right.
I think anybody can do this, providing that they're open to it and that they're willing to learn about it. Everyone's going to have different responses. Everyone's going to have different experiences. But to say that you're chosen, I have a hard time with that. And I forget where I was going with this because
It's getting
um,
late, I know.
but the fact that they're each daring each other to do the exact same thing, I think is comical. And the other fact that the big one, his BFF, is coming out to kind of back him up.
Right.
It's I don't know. There's some parts of YouTube that I don't think a lot of people realize goes on. You do have power players, and when I say you have power players that you do have influence over not
Oh,
just
absolutely.
as far as with other channels and with rating channels, and so much so there's some YouTubers out there that are so big that they could shut you down just by blocking you from getting into other avenues. It's really funny how it can work out.
Mhm.
And which makes me rethink what you just said earlier about, are these three actually in cahoots? Because if it were me, I'm a small YouTuber. It would be pretty ballsy for me to want to take on someone that size, um, because I don't know what he could do to me on the back end,
Right.
so to speak. Um,
Well, I mean, if you're small, I'm minuscule in comparison at the time of this recording.
yeah,
But even so, like, I mean, my best video right now, I mean, I've only been up for a couple of months. My best video right now is Eddie Van Halen. It's got 500 and something, 525 views.
mhm,
But like, right before we started recording this, like you had said, the more views you get, the more thumbs up you get, the more thumbs down you get. It's also the most
right,
disliked view. But it's also the one of two that actually gets a lot of hate comments or dislike comments.
right,
I get a lot of like, oh, that was real, ... not. And it's like, well,
right.
hey, you know what? This is the app I use. Feel free to download it and try it yourself and see what you get.
Well,
That is literally the comment I left for the kid. What I don't know what else to say to that.
and that's actually a great way, is if okay, so if you're watching it, if you don't believe it, try it yourself.
Right.
Download the app, record yourself doing the session, listen through the audio, you know.
And
But
I'm sorry. The ones that kill me though is we're very blatantly open about what we do.
Mhm.
You've got paranormal in your name of the channel. You've got paranormal in your description of the channel. You've got paranormal in the titles and the thumbnails, and
Right,
everything is paranormal based.
right.
And that same video, I had somebody come out and they were just like, "You're an idiot." Why? Because he's dead. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Why are you watching a paranormal channel if either you don't believe it or it didn't make sense? I mean, obviously, maybe he clicked it by accident,
Right,
but
right.
then at that point, you know what? Leave. You don't have to leave a comment. If you want to leave a comment, then expect to get, a little laugh
Well,
in return.
and luckily, especially with a newer channel such as yourself, that will all get sorted out. I mean, it will.
Right,
That'll
right.
all get sorted out, and you will have people who will love you, who will share your videos with others, and it'll start to snowball. So the only thing that I ask of you and our dear friend Marie, um, just stay true, stay honest, and
Oh yeah, till the day I die, man. I
you know,
just, I wish, and ever since I was young, I grew up in a house that was active. I
mhm.
just want to know what the hell is going on.
And
You
the
know?
thing is, and the thing is, and I'm sure you've ran into this too, is that there's times that nothing will happen There's a lot of
Yeah.
hurry up and wait,
Yep.
but then on the flip side, like what you said earlier, you could be listening through your audio and something completely unamazing or amazing could come through that was unexpected, that you have to take the headsets off. You got to pause the video and you have to sit there and go, what was that? So
Well, here's another one too, and I know that you and I had a conversation. I believe you've mentioned in a video before that you contacted Robin Williams, and then he seemed to video version of a photobomb you, and he started like jumping your session and kind of taking over. Hey, chief, and all this other stuff.
yeah.
So I was actually in a relatively short span. I did Paul Gray from
Okay.
the bassist for Slipknot, who passed away, and Paul Walker.
Okay. Yep.
And I had talked. I've had some nights where I've had some technical difficulties, and Paul Walker was one that didn't get recorded one time. So I did a follow up a little while later, and I even asked him, "Do you remember contacting or having a conversation with me?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And I said, and I ended it with, "You're welcome to join me anytime." So I asked him. I said, "Did you contact me again since then?" "Yes." And I believe he said twice. And I'm
Okay.
like, wow, okay. Then I'm doing another session shortly thereafter, and I didn't even catch this until post. I'm listening to it back, and I heard it clear as day. "This is Paul." And I'm like, which Paul? Now I'm confused. I'm like, oh my God, was this Paul Gray? Was this Paul Walker? Was this some another Paul that I don't even know? So yeah, it's crazy what you can catch, and you don't even know most of the time.
Exactly. And I absolutely love it when they drop a name. When you ask blatantly who is here with me, can you give a name? And they start rattling off names. It's
Yep.
phenomenal when that happens. I use my K2 meter a lot. I'm a huge fan of it. And which even that you have to be careful of, because there are ways that you can manipulate that. You can tap
You
the
get
back
a
of it.
false positive. Yep.
Exactly. So you have to, I feel anyways, you have to hold it a very certain way so that people know that you're not, manipulating
Right.
it. But it's, when you get that direct response of, is there somebody here with me? Flash, flash if there is, leave it alone if there's not, and you get a flash, like, okay, now we're good. Now we've got something. It is amazing. It is fun. It's educational. It's awe-inspiring. And for those who are truly doing it, who are sincere about it, God love them. For these three schoolgirls who are fighting over each other right now, I'm going to tell
Need
them
to take the skirt off and put their pants back on.
they do. They need to knock their crap off. They need to take a sense of responsibility. They have to keep in mind that they have people who are looking up to them, who are watching them, who are
Yep.
following them, some who are admiring them. And they have to know that. They have to know that they are an inspiration, I'm thinking, to some. And so they have to watch what they do and how they go forward, and crossing your arms and stomping your feet and pouting over, oh, you said I fake everything. Well, you fake everything. It's, come on, guys.
Yeah.
How about you just be honest from the start? You back up your claims, you show us how you're doing your stuff, be transparent, and there won't be an issue.
Right. Well, like they say, keep it simple. I literally I bring a phone and an iPad.
Right.
It doesn't get much more simple than that. I run
Look,
camera on one and I run a spirit box on the other, and whatever comes out comes out.
you are and I do not mean this as a slam or an insult. I actually mean it as a compliment, but you are as in regards to your oh, shush.
I'm
in,
waiting.
re- in regards to your equipment, you keep it as slimline as you can be.
Right.
And which I think is great, because unless people are going to say that, well, yeah, he's using his phone, but well, he probably puts the voices in when he's doing his editing. I mean, there's always going to be that someone who's going to say that stuff. But I like the fact that you keep it as simple as you do.
And as I
Because
showed you earlier, I edit it all on my phone. The only reason I have a laptop is for non-YouTube purposes. And well, actually, I use the studio for just a couple, you get what, maybe like 2 or 3 extra perks
Mhm.
that you can get that you don't get on your phone.
Mhm.
Literally, like that's the only reason I even have this laptop. I edit everything through my phone. I record it all on my phone. I keep it as slim down as I can because to those who might understand this, I could be shooting B-rolls, but one, I don't have the time or the extra equipment right now. I'm a full-time father, husband, homeowner, like full-time employee. Like I've got other responsibilities. This
Right.
is something I kind of do on the side that I've always enjoyed. Oh,
Right.
that was the other thing too. Is the younger one got slammed because he said it was a hobby, and then the other two got furious that he's as high up in the hierarchy. The hierarchy like ranking is up there with
Right.
them, and he's claiming it's only a hobby. Where these guys have been like, "Oh, I've put my blood, sweat, and tears for decades," and this kid just comes along in a year, and he's as a hobby, and he's doing the same numbers as we are. I guess that was part of the whole fuel on the fire thing too. So,
Envy and jealousy is an ugly thing, and
oh, absolutely.
when you are going around, and all three of them do this, by the way, when you are going around preaching love and light, but yet you are going to attack someone
And
for,
show you true darkness. Yeah.
so it's, come on, guys, just, and this is, and again, for those who are watching this, we're not trying to badmouth these three YouTubers. What we are talking about is be true to yourself, be true to you, to who's watching you, be transparent, be honest.
Mhm.
And if you're having a bad day and you want to put on YouTube, show that you're real, that you're having a bad day. You know, not everything is always going to be uh, butterflies and rainbows and unicorns. And so to practice love and light, but then slam someone,
It's kind of
I don't
shady
know.
if you ask me.
It's I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of
Right.
it. Just be real. Just be real. But but
I
no,
agree.
but no, brother, I appreciate you and what you do, and
Likewise.
thank you, sir. Keep doing that good job that you're doing. Any final thoughts?
Um, no, I look forward to hanging out with you again sometime soon. So
Oh yeah.
this has been
You
fun.
know, we should try to ask Marie if she would like to get in on one of these and try to get her involved, because
Yeah,
she's she's
absolutely.
she's just a sweetheart of a woman, and the channel is fantastic, and I really wish more people would pay attention to her.
Mhm.
So,
I agree.
but
I mean, especially since you, Marie, and I want to believe you, Doug and Becky, like the three of you, when I first started up, the three of you took me under your wings and just like, hey, if you got questions, let me know. Hey, if you got, hey, check out this new guy. He's pretty cool and legit. I can't express my gratitude enough to you guys. So.
well, you're a cool guy, and regardless of your hairline, and
Well,
and
the lack of, I mean, it's starting to. So.
oh, stop it. Your hair doesn't come in a can,
Oh,
mine does. Okay, so no.
this hairline here.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I'm done with you. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Well, hey, listen. Thank you so much. It was great doing this with you tonight.
absolutely. I had a blast, man.
Yeah, same
Unfortunately,
here.
sorry that it was the concept, the discussion that we had, you know, um, was kind of morally not nice, but the conversation itself was fantastic.
Conversation's fantastic, but even the topic, I think again, just to give a bigger view as to what's happening in the ITC world in YouTube,
Right.
that it's a little more petty in some ways than what it should be, and maybe some of the people who are claiming to be honest and sincere, just maybe aren't as much as they claim.
Right.
So all right, my friend. So until next time, do you wanna take us out?
What? Some stupid joke? Come on.